What'd you say, Greedy?
Say you running through OBS or Streamlabs or something like that?
Nah, I'm on, I'm going through Zoom.
Yeah, but
I
how's
mean,
you connecting the Zoom to the YouTube and shit? Like how you doing that?
nah, I just go to the Zoom. Yeah, I just go through Zoom and hit the button, the three dots, and then go down to the bottom, and it say stream straight to YouTube, straight through Zoom.
Oh, I ain't never know you could do that. I thought you had to have like a third party like plug-in and shit, something like OBS or
Nah,
Streamlabs.
nah, man. I can show you that. I can show you how to do that. Hey, shout out to everybody out there, man. Salutes. We are back. Salutes, man. This live stream. I got my brother Greedy Vegan on the panel. Salute. We will be dropping a link, man. This is a continuation from yesterday, man. My brother Greedy Vegan had a very interesting build. It intrigued me to want to support the movement to restore the balance of the information that our people is receiving. We got a lot of YouTube rhetoric. We got a lot of community rhetoric, and it's really giving off black fatigue in the black community vibes. Make sure y'all stay tuned for Nation One Love After Dark. We also gonna do black fatigue in the black community. But without further ado, I'd like to allow my brother Greedy Vegan a chance, you know what I'm saying, to elaborate on this with me. Salute, my good brother Greedy, man. It's a pleasure as always building with you. Salute, my brother.
Man, likewise, brother. Salute. Yeah, bro. Just same thought process, steady thought process, just trying to really meditate on, saying, what all I can do, try to contribute to the youth that's around me to, what I'm saying, to make the right decisions for themselves and shit, man. But it's so hard to do and shit, man, when you're living in a world that's kind of strange like it is, bro. Like, it's like we living in a place, man, where the wrong is looked at as a right. You know what I'm saying? What's doing somebody wrong and shit, man, is more so like a good thing in today's time and shit, man. Depending on who you ask about it and how they feel about it or where they come from, the truth, all of the lies have been pushed as truth. Seems like everything is just like upside down or everything is in reverse. If you get what I'm saying and shit, so you try to, like you said, restore the balance and shit, man, and get people, level headed as far as they thinking, just how to operate, how to move out here in the world and shit, man. But it's like the most difficult task because of how society is set up, bro. It's like people glorify all the wrong things and shit, and it's like you do something good for somebody and shit. You don't. Not saying you're supposed to get a pat on the back or acknowledged or something for it and shit, but when you do good for people and shit, note that that's never brought to a magnitude. That's never brought to a forefront, or people want to make that a focal point. You do something wrong to a motherfucker, or you know what I'm saying, somebody fucking somebody over, doing something credit to somebody, some shifty shit. That's the goddamn the headliner. You know what I'm saying? That's front page shit. Shit to be talked about. You feel me and shit. So it's like, yeah, when you living in a world like that, how can you guide the youth to want to not choose the street life, to want to chase after, you know what I'm saying, what they see on the TV and all that types of shit, man, when it's being promoted to them every day. And the majority, of the masses is trying to, keep up with the Joneses as well and shit. So it's like you trying to straighten them up or keep them on a straight path and shit, man. But the society is fighting against you and shit, man. You get what I'm saying? What I'm saying?
Oh yeah, most definitely, brother. It's like, you know, you can't people glorify people dying. So we're in a death culture. We're in a spiritual warfare. That's why I tell people we have to be compatible with earth and compatible to be compatible with nature. You see, if you think about them them stoves, they got them rings on it, on the top of the stove. That's a
Yeah.
spiral. That's why we were calling ourselves the serpent people, because a serpent or electric eel or electric snake will have its electricity charging in a certain direction, but the direction has been turned around. Man got bored with the ring, so then man bowled the ring, and see now we in a spiritual warfare, and that's gonna put us upside down.
Mm.
And the algorithm that we're following is the all gruesome rhythm, the all horrifying rhythm. This is the American Horror Story. You see, they made a motherfucking show called The American Horror Story. You dig
Mm.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we have to understand that this is a spiritual war. See, we talk about what they do to us. They can't do shit unless we allow them to. So that's why I appreciate you being on this bill, because a lot of people was trying to take the shit you were saying about following the laws, and it ain't about the Bible. It's about your fucking body. It's about your fucking mind. It's about your fucking soul. The mind is the spirit. The spirit is the psyche. So when your ass go see a psychotherapist, he really the grapist, because he graping your ass, because he instead is pulling you away from the spiritual ring that you're supposed to be ringing to, that you're supposed to be answering. See how all this shit makes sense? If motherfuckers
It's
want to claim victory with no evidence. Salute, bro. My bad. I don't want to hog the mic. Salute to everybody. We is dropping the link. So if you guys feel like y'all want to join the panel, feel free to do so. Salutes to y'all. Much love and respect. You got it, good brother.
yeah. Peace to everybody that's just tapped in, man. Yeah, I don't know, bro. Like I was saying yesterday, I don't know what to make of the quest for the truth anymore and shit, man, because it's like I'm explaining to you, bro. I don't know why I'm seeing it like this, bro. It may be just me, maybe just my weird way of thinking and shit, man. It might be, bro, but it seems like even all the good shit or things that's intended to be good in its origin, it always somehow, some way in this world, in this society, it gets tainted, it gets contaminated, man. Somebody figure out a way to to come along and put some trifling, some tripe shit into it. Dirty it all up and shit, man. Fuck it up and shit, bro. So I don't know, bro. I'm trying to figure out, bro. Like people want to talk about solutions and shit, and how can you bring a solution to, or how can you come up with a solution to what we see that's going on in society right now and shit? Like where do you even start? Motherfuckers is people is all over the place mentally with identity crises. People have God complexes, believing in different deities all across this motherfucking world. Uh, the children and shit, man. You know what I'm saying? The youth is just all out of whack. And I'm not saying everybody, but for the majority, like the masses, the whole, because powers and numbers and shit. So it don't matter. The numbers ain't gotta be on the motherfucking positive side in order to demonstrate power. The numbers can be on the negative side, or what I'm saying, on the evil side, and demonstrate power as well. And that's what we're seeing in shit. Like the masses of the people is more so in like a negative energy. You know what I'm saying? Like we glorifying drug dealers, motherfuckers, free big meat, free my mans and all them shit. Niggas mass murderers, niggas selling all the dope to the community and shit. They the reason and shit the kids can't even go outside and play at the playgrounds and shit. And swing on the swings and shit and ride their bikes in the community because you got gang violence going on and shit over turf wars. You got niggas robbing each other and shit and shooting each other down and shit. You know what I'm saying? 187s, drive-bys and shit all over the drugs and shit that's going on from the youth in the community and shit. Setting up shop and shit on different corners and you know what I'm saying, different shit. So it's like, man, where do you even begin to even start to fix with the wrongs in this society. Where you even start at, bro?
Facts. Facts. Because you can't even begin to build with another man. Now I got a
Yeah.
strange situation that happened. I try to build with another fella who I saw as an opportunity for me to do an interview with the brother because I know he lived the lifestyle of a pimp. And I know that I don't want to glorify the pimp lifestyle. I want to show the repercussions of choosing this lifestyle. See, I gotta bow
Right.
the ring. See, a lot of
Right.
people will say, you trying to promote pimping. No, I'm trying to promote what'll happen to your ass if you decide to be a pimp. And not only what's gonna happen to you, what's gonna happen to this woman who you pimping.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So I couldn't even build with this brother. I'm thinking I'm building with a brother, but he saw an opportunity to blow me a motherfucking kiss with a red heart on a fucking emoji. And he'll up against his lips, and he don't know it's finna be blood on his fucking lips. In a minute, nigga, I'm finna knock your teeth out. Quit playing with me, nigga. On this backwards shit. These
That's
niggas like to wear their pants backwards, greedy, because they like to feel a butt rubbing up against their nuts. And then they want to turn around, look at you with some gay ass eyes. But when he's standing down, when he's standing looking at you, he's standing backwards. And when he turn around, he's still backwards. You know what I'm saying? What's wrong with these dudes, man?
man, this is fucking crazy. That's man, I don't know, bro. Where we headed this shit, Key? What you know, what direction is this world going and shit, man? What does the future hold for this society and shit, man? The direction and the path of this going, bro. Yeah, niggas don't even know how to be men, bro. You know, you gotta stand up with what you supposed to. You would think the way that they talk, that they are stand up men, but then you start to look at their actions and you see that these brothers, man, they might as well go ahead and sit down and pee, man. They might as well do it and shit, man. We got so much feminine ways and you know, and if it ain't the feminine ways and shit, man, just down low, you know what I'm saying? Doing the dirty deeds and shit, man. You know, but I don't know, bro. The people don't stand on nothing. That's my biggest thing and shit, man. You know, with just the Negroes in America and shit, man. We just like the party, you know what I'm saying? The cookout, the banquet, the cabaret is just open doors to all and shit. You know what I'm saying? No matter who, all's welcome and shit. Motherfuckers don't set aside and set no standards. Ain't no code, motherfuckers. You know, living by and standing on. So shit, I don't know what the future holds. Shit, and we be people be in the conscious community trying to wake up the masses, to wake up the sleeping giant, like they say. But the giant seem like it don't want to be woken up, bro. The giant seem like he want to stay in the coma and shit, man. Want to sleep forever. That's what it seemed like to me, bro.
See, I'm glad you said that. See, I think that's a dangerous thing. I think waking up backwards people is dangerous because first you got to start with self. So if you can't start to try to eat right, if you can't start to try to get your mind right, and if you can't start to try to get your soul right, see the flood of information do a lot of shit. See, the flood also will push out sharks onto the land masses. The flood of information will also drown those who's good people who don't know how to swim.
Mm.
The flood will also cause for disease and sickness once some shit that was in when two waters mix. Green water and blue water don't got the same kind of fish. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we gotta stop understanding. I don't understand nothing. I overstand all this shit. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
If we can change our mentality, if we can change our intentions, if we can change our foresight. What's next? We ask people all the time, man, what's the solution? What's the solution? If you what's the solution person, then I know you fucking with the AIs and all that old type of shit right there. You see what I'm saying? Trying to follow the algorithm. You might as well go back and read the Bible and shit. Because you shouldn't be sitting up talking about the Bible is immature and then you steady fucking with the beast. You relying on a beast for your information. You relying on a beast to set you free. When a beast is what's entrapping you in the first place.
Mm.
So I think we gotta get back compatible with our minds, get back compatible with our bodies, get back compatible with our souls before we can even be compatible with the earth or nature anyway.
Mm. Yeah, it's gonna take
What's
a
your,
whole lot,
what's
bro.
your take on that? What's your take on that, bro?
I agree with you. It's just gonna take like it just seems like it's a forever timing type thing and shit, man. You know, when you just look at the overall view of where the people at today. You know what I'm saying? It's like what I was speaking on yesterday. This, you know, we in 2025 and shit, bro. And nobody really knows how old the earth is and shit. But if you really count back just from 2025 and going back, let's say to zero, that's been 2,000 years and shit, man. You know, we could just start there. We ain't got to go back to no AD, no BC, and all that shit. You know, just from 2025 all the way to the year one. Let's just say if motherfuckers is still divided, humanity is still divided, and you know, people can't really bring forth peace amongst humanity, then it probably just ain't meant for it to be. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these motherfucking teachings and doctrines and shit that we somehow get attached to. You know, a lot of this shit just may be fucking fairy tales and shit. You know, I'm not saying that you know everything is lies, but I'm just saying you know it just you know all you know it's a possibility that a lot of this shit is myths and shit, man, and we all on the wrong motherfucking path and shit, bro. Because just the way I'm looking at it and shit, bro. If you're trying to use the history perspective or the religious perspective in order to right society, in order to right all the wrongs, then that's like a constant war. That's like a war because everybody don't believe in the same God. Everybody don't practice or worship the same way. Everybody don't believe that they are the same people. Everybody is choosing different identities to attach themselves to and shit. So it's like an ongoing war of a division that just has no ending to it. So I just don't see how we plan on righting the wrongs using history or using religion, using science and all this type of shit. I think it really comes down to what you're saying. Like it's really all in the people's minds, but that's the hardest part. How do you reset the mind? Like how do you undo all of the lies that have been taught for centuries? Lies have been taught for so long they have became true. I say this all the time about the Jesus Christ thing. You see what I'm saying? If Jesus Christ is indeed a myth, you you wouldn't be able to tell that to most people today because so many people been believing and regurgitating and reciting for so many centuries. The people through the people's actions, they have made them real.
Facts.
You know, through the actions and how it's been going on for so long, they have made him real.
That's a fact, man. And you just said something good. You know, a lot of people say we gotta go back in the past so we can figure out who we were. But then I asked them, I said, man, damn, do you wash your ass before you wash your face? Quick question. Do you wash your ass before you wash your face? Maybe that's why we ugly right now in an ugly situation when we look in the mirror as a people. Don't let what I'm saying go over your head. If that's going over your head, maybe you need to take a bath and be baptized in a bathtub because you can't take a shower good. You ain't getting clean. The shower head over your head. This is going over their head. And we're so high off hope That niggas done got off the dope and got on the hope.
Yeah.
You know, so I said, I don't want to hear nothing else about the past because I understood that by us going back in the past, that's the main reason why history keep repeating itself. Because we keep repeating history. Because history is all that we stuck on the mystery when this thing's right in front of us. See, staring at the world through my rear view. Did y'all not get that song, or did you just dance to it and bump it loud to them 8x12s? And that's why your ass is going to hell in a handbasket because you ain't getting the message. It's going over your head. Reading and comprehension is two different things. Reading is only half the battle. Then I hear dumbass niggas say, man, they ain't want us to learn how to read when we were slaves. Why the fuck when they want you to know how to read the laws and shit that they putting down in front of you? You sound stupid and you need to stop this YouTube stupid goddamn dumb rhetoric shit. Quit telling people that shit. They don't want you to read. You ever heard the story of Yeah, go ahead, bro.
No, I'm saying I'm building with you and shit, bro. That's what you speaking on exactly what I'm saying, bro. Like it, I'm really asking this shit, man. Do we really think that it's possible to undo all the motherfucking lies and deception that have been taught for centuries? Like I feel like, man, if you didn't stop, it's like any problem shit. You know what I'm saying? If you don't stop it in its tracks and shit, man, it's gonna grow into a major problem for you. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't, if you see some shit before it's coming, and if you don't stop it, it's you can't complain later on that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you got so many people, man. Negroes believe that they were slaves. Ain't never been told that by their family. You know what I'm saying? Don't never come up. Ain't never a topic in their household, but through the education and through maybe their belief system, they somehow done attach themselves to that because they chasing an identity. You see what I'm saying? So, like, right. Do we really think that it's possible to undo all this shit and reset and shit? Because it seems like that's the only way society's going to change is if you're able to, to blot out some of this shit and people and shit would have no other choice but to do something for themselves. Yeah. You feel me?
Facts. It's like the whole thing with the Juneteenth shit. They making a mockery out of us. When people say, what, man, Juneteenth, that was a milestone for us. We need to get rid of niggas like you. And I say, you want to get rid of niggas like me? I'm trying to tell you what the fuck gonna set you free. The truth. You are celebrating being dumb as fuck. Slavery was over in 1863. The niggas who was released from slavery in 1865, they dumb ass was rebellious. They didn't want to hear nothing. They was leaning on their own fucking understanding, and these niggas was slaves for 2 extra years while everybody else was free. So you want me to celebrate being stupid with you? Nigga, fuck yourself. You work with a white man. I'd rather be a slave to the white man than have my mind enslaved by another nigga who's dumb as fuck, who blind, trying to lead me to the fucking blind hospital. We gotta stop this shit if we gonna save the youth. Yeah, man, it's getting crazy out here, man. This is a spiritual warfare. And see, these people who preaching, this is prosperity preaching. See, niggas be so quick to want to learn some information and go bring it to the people. They ain't bringing it to the people to free the people. They bringing it to the people so everybody can say how fucking smart they is. Nobody trying to free nobody. Because if you was trying to free somebody, you would do a little bit more diligent research, and you will see that ain't no end game to the shit that you trying to do. You are re-inviting us back into a burning house.
Yes, sir.
Another invitation into a burning house. And either way, our ass is grass. Something to think about. So my question to
Man,
the
you said
people
it
is,
though, bro.
where do we go from here? You gonna
You
keep
definitely said it,
celebrating?
bro.
Oh yeah, go ahead. You got it, bro.
You spoke on it, bro, and you talk about, you know, that's that's what most people, and I'm talking about, man, a high percentage of people in the conscious community, man, they just want to be heard, bro. Like that's really what it all boils down to. They just want to be heard and shit, man. They want to make a name for themselves and be, credited or looked at as some type of revered scholar in the community or a master teacher to the people and all this type of shit, man. But it it, it goes no further than the platform. It goes further than, a few cash apps, a few motherfucking donations, super chats and shit like that. You know, you can't knock the hustle and shit, but that's mainly what it always boils down to, man. Like there ain't no real motion going on to where it's bringing forth change in society. Motherfuckers is still, I'm telling you and shit. This is why I said, bro. I just don't. I don't want to sound like the brother. You know what I'm saying? That's losing hope, but I just feel like this is, this the deception has been taught and been spread across this world, not only in our country but in this across this world. It's like, bro. Can you imagine how it would be like in let's say Afghanistan or something like that? Like if we was Afghanis, we probably be indoctrinated under some damn Islam, or we might be indoctrinated under some Zoroastrianism or something like that. Hinduism. Ain't no telling, but anywhere you go across this world is some type of belief system set up for that area, for that zone, for that landmass. That's like the dominant. It's always like a dominant where they got like 80% of the population is believers of this. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. So if you understand that, and like, if you overstand that, as you say, brother, and you really take that in and know that that's what it is, then how can you tell yourself that where you live at or where your peoples is at in the world aren't indoctrinated into some type of cultural, what I'm saying, practice that has been put on the people to keep you docile, to keep you lost, to keep you from not, forming one unity as a people and becoming a people again and stuff like that. Like all this shit to me, it seems like it's been put out there and put in place in order to keep people separated, in order to keep people fighting in division and all this to each his own type shit, and that type of energy is not bringing forth a community. It's actually keeping people away from each other. It's giving people easier ways to look at a brother or sister and say, nah, I ain't fucking with him and shit. I ain't supporting him. You know what I'm saying? Or I ain't fucking with her. I don't like her. Because of their practices, because of their perspective on the world and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So the division is the main problem. But how do you think you're gonna solve that problem with the books that's written, that's given to you in history, and the religion when it's all glorifying people who it's like the origin or the tone setter for a rich and a poor, a chosen and an unchosen. You know what I'm saying? A holy and a heathen. You see what I'm saying? So all of these is like, it's like the foundational stones that the building blocks of division, of separation, of war amongst the people and shit. But people use this shit to try to bring the people together and shit. I don't
Right.
get that, brother.
Right. And then how can I win when my brother's the one who's turning me
Right.
in? You know, there's
Yeah.
6 degrees of separation, but the 6 degrees of separation, this is spiritual warfare. See, the 6 degrees of separation isn't supposed to be used to separate us. See, just like these boys who like to wear their pants backwards, we getting the information backwards. Shout out to my brother Nino. Thank you for joining the panel. And shout out to my brother Nasir. Salutes to you, good brother. See, let me explain the 6 degrees of separation and let me explain what happened when the Rona came down. See, the end game is to merge man with machine. You ain't never heard this before. Hit the like button. Please like, share, and subscribe. Support the channel. Welcome to the Nation One Love podcast show. I have my co-host Greedy Vegan and my brother Nino. Salutes. Now, what happened when the Corona came down? They told everybody that they were sick. Everybody was sick. And when they quarantined everyone, see, if you know military tactics and if you've been in the military, then you would know that anything that is quarantined is the enemy. Anything that is quarantined is the enemy. So when you were quarantined, you were the enemy, and you were not deemed not an enemy until you rejected the snake bite, until you allowed them to jab you. Then you were deemed not an enemy. You were allowed to come out of quarantine. The 6 degrees of separation is supposed to be on our side. What 6 degrees of separation mean when we compatible with God and nature means that we have 6 degrees of separation. Means that me and Greedy building, we both got 3 people that we know. So that makes 6 people. Then that 6 people make 18 people. Then that 18 people make 36 people, and then so forth and so on. That's what the 6 degrees of separation was supposed to be put on our side to help us. But they reversed it and they implanted a 6 degrees of separation in our mind to separate us from each other. When we had 6 degrees of separation that separated us from them, and we would have stayed the same if we would have stayed under the spiritual code of a balance of mind, body, and soul. And I relinquish the mic.
Mm.
Hey, salute, Nino. You and Greedy can build from there, bro. Salute. Welcome to the build.
All
Peace,
right,
peace.
brother. Peace and cloud.
Salute, salute. Yeah, man. You know, we building. How can we restore balance in a world that's been turned upside down, man? And we speaking on this spiritual warfare. I know you got a lot in the clip for that, bro. Let's go. Take your time.
Right. Hey, that you said a mouthful just with that right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, first of all, we gotta recognize a lot of people don't want to recognize that it's a spiritual war, or you want to have a spiritual war on Monday and then on Tuesday you go back into your cardinal mind. You know,
Mm.
that spiritual warfare is a constant thing. And like I was saying the other night, it goes on from birth. You know what I'm saying? So from birth, it was already just like they'll tell you, you were surrounded by angels. You was also, surrounded by other things too that was, looking to guide you from there and see where, your weaknesses and your strengths. Like you sort of being watched all the time. So, that spiritual warfare, like I tell kids every day, it's constant, you know what I'm saying? And it's individual. And the only way that you say that we can combat that would be that everybody, recognize, that it's an individual thing, you know what I'm saying? And don't fall into those mass productions, if you would call them, that they would want to call religions these days, which are mass production.
Mass distraction. Weapons of mass distraction.
Mm.
I
Like
know,
I don't
bro.
know. I'm truthfully, bro. I think the same way we have seen it in our lifetime, you're going to see people, the elders. We've all seen them in our family, transition, even on their deathbeds, still have faith in their religion. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what makes us think that that's going to stop? People's going to, I just don't see how you can undo all of the lies and the deception that has been taught. I would love to get some answers on this shit, or point me in the right direction, or lead me to the, you know what I'm saying, to, where we start at. But how do you start attacking and undoing? Because that consciousness is about you being made aware of all of the wrongs, all of the deceit. You start to see all the deception. So you start to make the right decisions, because you learn how to, maneuver through all the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
if the masses of people ain't able to, to be made aware of the bullshit and see all the deception, and they the ones who's actually caught up in it, and keeping it going, because that's how a lie stays alive. This is how a faith and a belief becomes the truth to somebody. This is how it becomes prevalent in the community, because people give it its power by believing in it, by pushing it, by keep regurgitating it. And the more people hear it, the more people hear it. And, as long as that goes on, it becomes like somewhat of a fact in people's minds. You see what I'm saying? Like,
I think.
Go ahead.
Okay, I think that though that when you speaking of religion, I think that those were just bases on which to start from. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people take them and then it's the start and it's the end, but I think that was to open up consciousness to it. Now, your spirituality will guide you from there. You know what I'm saying? Your spirituality should take over at some point of you becoming aware. You know what I'm saying? Or you becoming more conscious of what's going on and what's real and what's fake. Because, the old people used to say spirit of discernment. But spirit of discernment comes with knowledge. So you would start off primitive, and then you would go on, and then you would go on from there. I think that your spirituality would guide you, into the truth. Take that as take it as a faith, as a premise. You know what I'm saying? Not as listening to every word that somebody says just because they say that they believe the same things that you do. You have to keep on building on that. You can't just start at one place and then stop there. You got to keep building on what you already know.
Oh yeah, that's a fact. That's a big fact. Somebody, let's see who in the back. Oh yeah, the enemy's public. Salute to my good brother, the enemy's public. Shout out to the big dog, Philly OG in the building. How my mic sound? I sound good, y'all.
Yeah, you good, you good.
Yeah. Salutes to everybody. Much love and respect. Welcome to the bill, good brother Nasir. If you want to take the mic, feel free to do so, good brother. We can all build with each other. Salute.
Mic check. How are you hearing me?
Oh, brother, big brother, you know that too.
Yeah, I agree with all of what you all said. Yet, if we want
Mic check, mic check. Can y'all hear me clear?
hold on,
Yeah, you clear.
my mic is
Okay, good brother. Let's take your time, man. You can restart, good brother.
Yeah, you clear when you speaking. We hear you.
Yeah, I want to take a time to we'll take this time to reach out to the chat. Shout out to my brother Big Dog Philly OG. Loops 247, salute. Derek Carey, salute. Run, Flat Power God, my brother, salute. Live and learn, salute. Shall reach the realest, salute, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Please like, share, and subscribe, support the channel. Also, feel free to hit the link if you would like to bring something to the build, if you got questions, or if you just want to interject or make a statement, feel free to do so. Welcome to the Nation One Love podcast show. Oh yeah, big brother, you want to give us a mic check? Or Greedy, I'm pretty sure you got something to interject. If you want to grab the mic until Big Brother get his microphone together. That'll be good. Because you know, as far as I can really see, man, it's when it comes to the religious thing, right? Now I feel like there are many roads to the same location. So just because you chose to go down Olive Street and make a right on Hazel, don't mean I couldn't have just rolled 22nd the whole time till I got to Linden Street, then went
Right,
down to Cherry Street, made it go all the way down. You see what I'm saying? So we're
right. So that
6 degrees.
right. So
Yeah,
that's what that's what I was speaking on to alleviate that separation. It's all going to one
right.
chosen. It's all going to one chosen point. It's all
Yeah,
it's
and,
all
and
it's
this,
all going to one chosen point. But somewhere, you know what I'm saying, you can get sidetracked by Jen and other things like that who listens to the words as well, and then they construe it to believe what they wanted to believe to use it as a tool of destruction. You know what I'm
right,
saying? So I don't think the problem is necessarily with religion. It's with the separation, and it's with the people who's trying to, you know, use it as a tool to destroy or to control a certain group of people. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I always say, you know, it's an individual thing because when you join others in, you join other thoughts, and you don't know what those thoughts, you know what I'm saying, materialize from. So
right.
that's when you let the spirituality take over. You know what I'm saying? The spirituality guides, you know what I'm saying? You're only going in a good orderly direction anyway.
Right. And see, we start allowing the 6 degrees of separation to work against us when the 6 degrees of separation is so supposed to be working for us. Now, what I'm doing is giving us the keys to to win battles so that we can win this war, the spiritual warfare. Because the 6 degrees of separation is supposed to work for us. When two or more come together in the same like-minded mission or agenda, then there goes 6 more degrees of separation because they come off the 6 degrees of separation because two of us can influence three. You see what I'm saying? And so then each one of those three can influence two more. Then there goes 6 more on each side. You see what I'm saying? So we have to understand what spiritual warfare is, but we also got to have teachers who are able to break this down and give it to you brick by brick instead of just showing you the Great Wall of China and they don't even know why that shit was invented in the first place. Because they teaching you it was to keep a motherfucker from going into China when that Great Wall of China was really to keep us out of Tartaria. And that's another thing for another story, and I'll relinquish the mic.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Did you want to interject, Greedy? I see Brother Nasir, he might have to come back when he get his mic. Oh, go ahead, good brother Greedy, you got it.
I was just coming back and shit, but I had to go do something for the lady. And yeah, what we building on?
Yeah, I was just letting them know. We was talking about you know the religion separating us, and we shouldn't allow that to separate us. We really shouldn't be having our mind focused on these different roles to take anyway. But because we're trying to find balance in a world that's been upside down, we have to meet each other where we're at. You know, because you're gonna go one way if we ended up at the same place, this shit make no difference. But we all getting into it with each other because we like, you ain't following me there. When we got GPS now, or you know the way. You see what I'm saying? So we should just be focused on meeting each other at the location that we're trying to get to and making sure that we all can get there. So we're allowing the spiritual warfare we're losing the spiritual warfare because we don't understand that the 6 degrees of separation is supposed to be working for us. That will separate us from the heathen. That will keep us all more separated from the heathen. We're not supposed to be finding these religious ideologies. We're supposed to be balancing our mind, body, and soul. That's why I got the scale up there on the title.
Right. Cause you okay, so for example, you got non-believers, right? Everybody done heard of a non-believer, right? A non-believer
Right.
only can tell you they're a non-believer because they have studied whatever they saying that they don't believe in. They have strategically studied it to dissect it. You got non-believers who know way more than people who are so-called believers because so-called believers are shut off at a certain point. Like you say, when a teacher runs out of things to teach, you know what I'm saying? And they don't have the sense to know that this person is getting a download. I mean, you get downloads just like anybody else, but are you able to even recognize when you getting a download or when something is taking you somewhere else? You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
They get caught up in following the man or the woman who's teaching. You know what I'm saying? Instead of taking what they said and then allowing their own self to elevate that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all about elevation at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Where you at today, you should be farther ahead tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? But we seem to go take a few steps forward and then digress. You know what I'm saying? You digress back
Mm.
because most teachers only teach to a certain point. You know what I'm saying? A third grade teacher is teaching on a third grade level. So why would you expect sixth grade knowledge from a third grade teacher?
Facts. And then we got seniors who aren't mature. We got seniors who ain't mature who want to uh you know discourage the fifth grader.
Right,
So if
because
you're supposed to encourage the fifth grader, not discourage the fifth grader. How the fifth grader gonna feel confident about moving toward the 12th grade and graduating if the seniors is discouraging them? So we got to meet each other where we at and learn how to love our brother and hold each other
right,
hands so we can stand as strong links and make this fence, this wall we need built.
right, and
Uh,
most seniors, they're reluctant to listen to the youth. You know what I'm saying? Because they say, "Well, I've been through this and I've been through that," but those are things that was happening in your time. But if you listen to the youth, you will hear about what's going on now, and you will be able to use what you got in your time to teach the youth. And that's where the separation is at. You know what I'm saying? Because the youth now are getting things quicker. They're learning things quicker. They have more information. They have more outlets. They have more information. So the separation, once those youth pass those, so-called seniors, once they pass them in knowledge, they figure that there's no more use for them. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't know that things are going to be repeated. It's just going to come in a different form or a different way.
mm.
Facts. That's big facts. And our people so hyped up about drinking the Kool-Aid. We got our own brothers passing out Kool-Aid. They the Jim Jones of our time. And this shit ain't doing nothing but poisoning and destroying and killing the minds of our youth. So
Right.
when we look at youth and say the youth wild, the youth they crazy. They drunk. They drunk off the Kool-Aid, man. So that's why I'm slapping this shit out their hand and I'm kicking over the stand. Salute. My big brother Greedy. My brother Greedy, did you want to interject?
Yeah, the brother Nino hitting on it and shit, bro. Like that's what's really going on and shit, bro. It's happening so on so much of a vast scale that the lies be going and slipping by, bro, to where they passed off as truth and people be preaching off of it and like you say, gathering more people into the fold of lies and shit like that, bro. I I don't know how much of this we're gonna have to do in order to undo the train of thought, the process of thought and shit. Learning to use your own goddamn brain again and stop letting a book think for you. Stop letting another author think for you. Stop letting the system, you know what I'm saying, the government teach you everything about the world and shit like that. Like we should want to be the explorers of the world. We want to know something about a certain area of the world, then we should be finding people to go out there and study those areas of the world. You shouldn't be worried about or look, want to lean on AI and what this book done said and stuff like that. We go see for ourselves. But people kind of have, the system make people lazy like that to where, like you said, the children getting so much advanced knowledge because we in the internet world, the internet age, internet society, where these search engines, AI is really teaching them what it is about this world and shit like that. They might ask their parents, but if they ain't around their parents and they around friends and stuff like that, little kids, I see my son and them doing it all the time. They might have certain questions or something. They get on the phone and get on their smartphone and shit and just hit a button and ask the phone, Siri, what does it say about this? Or Siri, what does this mean? And stuff like that. And the children do shit like that, bro. And yeah, bro. So it's like it's somehow us capturing ourselves again and wanting more for ourselves, wanting to know things instead of having to rely on a belief of a thing, wanting to understand things instead of having to just put it to the side because we don't fully understand. We need to know these things, or let some of this shit be. Everything ain't meant for you to know these. Everything ain't meant for everybody to know as well, bro. That's another thing and shit, man. People want to be know-it-alls and shit, and I can't blame them. We all got a brain to think like that and shit, but if you get too caught up in this shit, man, you'll lose yourself in like he said, in that mystery world and shit, where you can't even really get a grip on reality and what's going on in your now. You can't really focus on what's happening in your life and what type of legacy you're going to leave behind and shit. You so caught up on, the 1800s. You so caught up on, the Anunnaki and, Kemet and whatever it is and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because people, this shit can be real crazy and shit, man. This shit is strange to me and shit, man. Society, when I look at this totality, man, it's a strange place, bro. This shit is strange to me, bro.
Oh yeah, and Greedy, I talked about that, the other night when I was saying, you know what I'm saying. Some knowledge is not for you to obtain. You know what I'm saying, and that's even with spirituality. If you start to misuse spirituality, you know what I'm saying. Any book or any teaching gonna teach you that your heart becomes sealed to it. You know what I'm saying? Because the true spirit is not gonna let you use it. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna let you abuse it for bad. It'll close your heart off to it to where you can't even receive it no more. You know what I'm saying? So for the simple fact that some people are not to know some things. You know what I'm talking about? So just like God to put the right things on your heart, He also seal your heart when you start to abuse the knowledge that you give it. So that's why some people are just stuck in a primitive state of religion or in a primitive state, you know. And the older people, when they was getting it, it was to survive. You know what I'm saying? So they got stuck into where they were always in survival mode. So they only learn the things of survival. But now, when you're at a time of elevating, you know what I'm saying? They don't want to elevate. They don't know to elevate because they're still stuck into that slave mentality to where elevation is dangerous. You know what I'm saying? So their hearts, at some point, their hearts became sealed in order to survive, if that makes sense.
Right.
And when I'm saying the heart, I mean that soul, that thing that's in you that you didn't put there. You don't know how I got there, but it's there.
Right. And it's upside down. We've been taught that our treasure will be in our bank accounts and our pockets. Your treasure, as far as your body, ain't gonna be in your pocket. Your treasure gonna be in your chest, in your heart. And your treasure ain't gonna be in your bank account. It's gonna be in your spiritual bank. I'm just saying some shit to make y'all think. Salutes, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Please like, share, and subscribe. Support the channel.
And even with money, for somebody who's trying to build a palace here, money will be everything. But to somebody who's trying to elevate, who knows that, hey, you're not gonna be here forever, it's just a tool. You know what I'm saying? And just like people say they get some money, they say, oh, this is a blessing. But to some people, that money is a curse if they don't know what it's for. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? If they don't know what it's for, that's gonna be the curse. That's where you get money is the root to all evil. Now, money ain't the root of all evil. It's the holder of the money who becomes evil when they get it.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Money is a tool. It's just like if you trying
That's
to
a
push,
fact, bro.
you trying to push a narrative, okay? You know what I'm saying? That the way, this is what you follow, this is what you see. Well, these youngsters, they only see what they can believe. That's why they quick to go to the streets. They quick to go to their drug dealer because their drug dealer got that instant success that they want. You know what I'm saying? But if you take that same child and put them around a millionaire who got theirs off farming, then that child is more likely to go into farming because he sees this is the way to success. But it's more crack dealers than it is farmers. So he's more likely to run into a crack dealer when he go outside than he is a successful farmer.
Hmm. That's a fact, bro.
So that's where that separation is from the youth. You can't go to no youth telling them, oh, the Lord is the way, the Lord will provide, but you don't even have the next meal. You looking for him to give the
Right.
youth to give you a donation so you can eat. So the youth looking at it like, ah man, he just telling me this so he can eat. You know what I'm saying? All the time, you really trying to reach the youngster, but that ain't the way you gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem that's when you run into the problem with these mega churches. That's when you run into the problem of people faking religion to get the financial gain. That's where all of it come from, right there. Because you cannot guide, and I repeat, like a lot of these people that come on these apps, they have these great ideas and they tell you all, like his brother said, they can go back to the Anunnaki and they can tell you all about this, but they can't even get a profit off of it. You know what I'm saying? If you got all this strength and all this power, why ain't you willing yourself to be wealthy? Why ain't you willing yourself to be in a better situation? Why are you still in the same dead end situation? Because you just sitting there running a narrative. That's all you do is
Right.
running in there. You're not showing where it comes from. You know what I'm saying? You're not producing anything. When you get that seed in the ground and you water that seed gonna produce something eventually. You know what I'm saying? So they just throwing the seed in the ground and keep stomping it. They ain't giving it no water, but they expect the result of a big, beautiful flower to pop up. It ain't gonna happen.
Hmm.
Good brother, you want to give us a mic check? My
Can you hear
brother's
me?
in. Yes, sir. You
Mic,
loud
mic
and
check.
clear.
Mic check.
Oh yeah.
Again, your brothers are cooking. I agree with what you're saying. Yet we also have to consider, you know, based on being here for a little while, man hasn't done no better than that mystery God. Hasn't done no better. If we want people to stop thinking that there's a mystery God, it's like, when you tell someone that they shouldn't be doing something, yet we don't offer them an alternative. We have to offer an alternative and have them see, an alternative that's beneficial to us all, because we've had a conversation before and we asked a question that God create man or did man create God?
Mm.
And that's a pertinent question.
Hmm.
And if man created God, what I'm saying, we all know that it's to control people. It's all about control. There's nothing wrong with law and order. Yet we have to make up our minds on what we want. as a people. Some people take their spirituality and they they misuse it, and they'll force, not necessarily force, but they'll take something that's beneficial to them and may not be beneficial for the next man or woman. It's like when someone who don't necessarily rock with spirituality or religion, but someone else does, and that's what make them them. Yet you're attracted to that brother or that sister, and you are trying to get them to get away from what attracted you to them in the first place. It's a case of meeting people where they're at and learning from each other. We got to meet people where they're at. And it's more important things than trying to get people to get away from what makes them them. It's more important things than that, because if there's a brother or a sister that's out here standing and acting on behalf of our people and doing good work, I wouldn't, after finding out that this brother is not of the same faith or belief, whatever you want to call it, than myself, I was supposed to just, okay, you know what, this brother or sister is a Seventh-day Adventist. Because of that, I don't want to be comrades with the brother no more because of that. But the brother's been doing good work, more work than some of us. But because of that, we shun the brother. We have to get away from trying to have people do our will, when we should be coming together, deciding what we're going to do collectively. We have too many brilliant minds to not be doing things together. Brothers mentioned it earlier. We talk about it all the time, Brother Key. The intellectual mass debaters, they rather win a debate as an individual than to win as a people. We need to learn how to win as a people instead of trying to be that Pam, that one jumping up and down saying, please acknowledge me. And that's what we have. We have Pams, brother. People want to be acknowledged, and they want to be, they want to be not necessarily smart, because smart is based on how you move, not on what you say and how you sound. Because you can be intelligent, but you may not be equivalent, and you may not be in formation with the information that you're dropping.
Right.
So, the brothers on this platform know where I stand, because we talk all the time. We talk all the time. And it's time for us to build. Build means to add on. You got to add on. Not necessarily, some things need to be destroyed. Number 8 in Supreme Mathematics is build and destroy. Build and destroy. But we have to determine what we got to build and what we got to destroy. Destroy the negative, build the positive. That's what build and destroy is. I don't have much time, but I heard the brothers cooking up here, so I said I had to come up. My wife is making dinner now, and I said I need to talk to my brothers. But if you're going when I'm finished, I'll come back up. I like this conversation. I like this conversation.
Wife, your brother, salutes to you. I appreciate anytime. It's a pleasure to be here with you, my brother. I know you always gonna bring some jewels from your chest, man. Having a heart to heart is where you need to start. That's
brother. Sure. The pleasure is always mine, brother, to speak with my comrades. Always.
Sir, double salute.
Salute, bro.
Nino, my brother Greedy, salute to you, brothers.
Salute, bro.
Salute, bro. And yeah, that and just that's what I was saying off early. You know what I'm saying? We was talking about when we was talking about, spirituality and religion. You know what I'm saying? And I was saying, those religions are at surface, those are the base, those are the start. You gotta build on that in order for it to work for you anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
At some point spirituality should take over. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't need to go nowhere and have nobody every week to give you instructions on how to
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
It should be somewhere in there that your spirituality touches you some way. That's why when you saying like just because somebody's from a different faith, that should turn you off from them. It shouldn't. For the simple fact is where they were at that time, that's what they needed in order to elevate. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
And hopefully, if y'all keep conversing and y'all keep talking, that they would take where they were and start to elevate to where you are. You know what I'm saying? And that's why that each one teach one thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You never know where you're gonna get that truth from, but your soul knows when it hears the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
sir.
that's why you can't cut yourself off. You might cut yourself off from that person, but that person might have something in them that's gonna light that flame to keep you going. You know what I'm saying? While all the time
Yes,
you was
sir.
trying to show them your way, you got
You
caught
know,
up in showing them your way, and you missed when they were showing you that hey, this is what you need to do to elevate a little more than farther than you are. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
So I
Exactly.
think I think it's a constant thing. Like I was telling Key last night, life is just like a bill. You know what I'm saying? Life is just like any other kind of bill. You have to keep on building. You got to keep on elevating,
Yes,
or you're
sir.
gonna become stuck. You're gonna become stagnant, and it ain't gonna mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? Some people are comfortable where they are, and a true God, like I say, some people not to know certain things, so they heart gonna be sealed to it anyway.
You know, brother, in order for steel to sharpen steel, it has to come together. You cannot wash your hand without using the other one. You can't. And still need another piece of steel to make it sharp. So you get with a sharp person and y'all converse and you learn from each other. That's what it's about, us learning from each other and keeping each other sharp. Or, you know, making each other sharper.
And I see in the community I see a lot of people that's got they have leadership skills, and certain people have been following them for so long they start to pacify that leader. Oh, you're the greatest, or you know everything, and they think that they're helping that leader, but they're actually keeping that leader to where that they can understand them. So that leader
Yes,
begins
sir.
to not elevate. They begin to be stagnant. They begin to go backwards because they're steady trying to feed to the masses. They're steady trying to get those $5 cash apps, those $10 cash apps. So they're staying on that surface level where that person understands, and they're never going nowhere. That person is actually holding them back.
If you make a person think, that they know it all, they're not going to try to achieve or seek knowledge because they already think they know. When I started getting information, when I started realize I know a little bit, when I realized I didn't know a damn thing.
Hmm.
You know, a man who knows something knows that he knows nothing. That's why he seek knowledge, because he knows nothing.
That's a fact. That's why I said, don't tell me that, I'm just giving you the truth. The truth ain't mine. The truth is for all of us. I'm telling
Yes,
the
sir.
truth. I don't know nothing.
My
I'm
brother,
crazy.
my
I'm
brother,
stupid.
the truth don't need neither one of us, brother. It don't
Don't
need
say
us.
it.
You don't need our validation. The truth don't need us. It's gonna be the truth without our validation, brother. You don't need us.
We need the truth. The truth don't need us.
Exactly. We need the truth.
Hmm.
You know the story of the well-dressed lie against the naked truth, brother. The lie put on truth clothes and going around parading as the truth until the naked truth catch up with him.
You gonna beat them clothes off that boy.
And beat the truth right off him. You know, because the naked truth exposes everything, brother. It's not vulgar. It just exposes everything. You don't have no private parts. Private parts ain't necessarily your adornments. Private parts is what's in the dark. Everything is showing. What you see is what you get. That's the naked truth. But a lie can dress up as the truth and parade around as the truth until
right.
the naked truth catch up.
With that well-dressed lie. You know, I have a lot of
Exactly.
people who will be, you know, I just wanted you to present it a little bit better, brother. Well, if I presented it a little bit better, that would have been half the truth. I gave you my whole self. I came as I was,
Yes,
and you
sir.
didn't change.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And you
sir.
were well-dressed man.
Yes,
We
sir.
gotta, man, we gotta give them a bath because this shit going over their head and they scared. They ain't getting clean because they don't know the water falling down on them. So we gotta baptize them in the bathtub, brother. That's why I love y'all, man.
Sometimes we have to unabuse our people, brother. They abuse themselves, and we have to unabuse them. Pardon me a second, brothers.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Greedy, you and Nino want to interject? Hey man, this is a fire bill. Shout out to my brother T Cortez, my sister Ray Evolution. Make sure y'all drop y'all channel pages links in the chat. And make sure y'all sub up to my brother Greedy Vegan over there, Talk Your Talk Media. Salutes to everybody, much love and respect. Peace and power, family. Big double salutes to all you truths. Whether you a truther or a truth searcher, we all found each other and we all gonna make balance and build each other up. Salutes to y'all. Oh yeah, any one of you brothers like to interject? Or got a thought or anything, man, you know, we just speaking the truth. So we can take it anywhere we want to go. Anything we put our mind to, let's do it. I mean, I want to know on, you know, since we're speaking on, you know, trying to find balance in a world that's been upside down, turned upside down, and we know we dealing with spiritual warfare. Um, do anyone have any suggestions, direct suggestions? I know we spoke vaguely about you know, a few things, but do anyone have any direct suggestions on you know, starting points? Because I was speaking to, and shout out to my cousin Larry, salute, you know, he asked a question on the phone conversation last night, what's next? And so, you know, it was an unanswerable question, but I said, I got to answer. I want to see what's next and see. I've been trying to put forth this thing called voting progress to where we can all, you know, get ourselves together and we won't be voting separately. You know, we could get our people in position because we living in a world, we fighting against a world that we don't have no control over or that we can't control. So we can put our minds and stuff in a thing called voting progress. You know, we can all have our votes already tallied up together. So then when it comes to what we're voting in progress, is we VIP voting. So we ain't gotta worry about fighting with our brother or mother or sister about voting for one of their politricians, one of their politricking politicians. You see what I'm saying? And while they dividing us from the plan, they dividing us with our brother or sister where we stand, causing a separation, 6 degrees of separation amongst us. You see what I'm saying? So what y'all think about that? Cause I mean, we do gotta, even though we in this world, we gotta be in this world, but not of it. But at the same time, we still gotta have our feet on the ground. How that sound to y'all?
And my thing is, I don't mean to sound repetitive, but the answer to the most complex problem in the world is gonna be a simple solution. If I was to give any advice, it'll be simple. Watch what goes in your mouth and watch what comes out your mouth.
Man, ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Greedy, what you think, good brother Greedy? And then when it comes to the politician thing, now I say that because we gotta to see when our people get schooled in the school, see they get wrapped up. And when they get wrapped up in indoctrination, that means somebody's trying to create their own butterfly. So if we're gonna rewind or undo some of these harsh things that's been done to us, somebody done drunk the Kool-Aid already. But we can't sit there and say, well, man, they gonna be all right. No, they've been poisoned. So we're gonna have to find something that's gonna get their poison out. We're gonna either have to make them throw up or poop it out. Either way, it's gonna look dirty and it's gonna feel nasty doing it. But that's what we gotta do to kind of backtrack and get on the right track for the spiritual warfare to be won. What y'all
But
think on
that,
that?
but that's just like where you was at when the brother was speaking. He was saying, you have to meet people where they are. Some people you gonna have to leave where they at too. Big. You know what I'm saying? Some people ain't they love the Kool Aid. They're addicted to the Kool Aid. So you just gotta let them keep on drinking that Kool Aid. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
a fact. That's
You
a
only
fact.
have you only have a certain amount of energy, bro. It's only a certain amount of energy in this world. That's why some people die and some people are born. You know what I'm saying? Because it balances itself out. You know what I'm saying? So on, if you expound your energy on trying to bring a dead tree back to life, you just you just sitting there watering a dead tree. So you look, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Using all your energy towards that. Use your energy where you think where your energy is needed. Pour into the living. Don't try to wake up the dead.
Very well said. Very well said. And that goes with the saying that the dead buried is dead. You know what I mean? We supposed to be living amongst the living. And another analogy I got, with what you just said, was some people you gotta leave where they at. See, because I'm a bird, right? A lot of chickens will be a distraction to me. So once I realize I gotta leave these people where they at, it's time for me to get off the ground, because chickens can't fly. I got to get back to soaring with the Eagles, or else it's gonna turn into a crab in a bucket situation, and I'm gonna be stuck down there with them chickens who ain't none of my kind, my vibe, my tribe. I got to fly high with the Eagles, so I'm with you 100%, bro. Salutes to everybody out there. It's been such a fire build, man. I think we losing energy right now, unless anybody else want to join the panel, because I pretty much said everything that needs to be said. We all did, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my brother T Cortez, salute. Shout out to Bucky Wingo, salute my brother Bucky Wingo. Shout out to my sister Ray Evolution, the spiritual secretary, salute. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Loops 247 say salute from London, UK. Salutes my London brother. Salute. Peace and power to you and the family over there in London. Shout out to my big brother, Big Dog Philly OG. Salute Derek Carey. Salute Honey Blunt. Salute. Smoke at least 2 of them for me, Derek Carey. I'm riding with a sober motor right now. But smoke some for me, my brother. Salute. My brother Bronze Flat Power God. Salute. Live and learn. Salute to the salute above. I too near you not to hear you, my brother. Salute. Shall reach to really salute. Much love and respect. T. Cortez. Truth. I stopped trying to prove people wrong. I had to learn because they will catch it when it's their time to catch it. That's a fact, good brother, because if you listen long enough, a person will tell you who they are. And when they tell you who they are, you have to believe them. And the only thing you can do from that point is place them in that category and move accordingly. Salute. Salute, my brother T. Cortez. Salute. Uh, if there anybody on the panel want to interject,
Yeah, I'm back, Keith. Yeah, my bad. I had to talk. My daughters was calling me, bro. I had to mute up for a minute.
oh yeah, no problem, man. I was kind of about to start up another fight, and I looked around and I ain't see none of my dogs with me. Now I'm messing with you, man. No, this is good energy, man, and I think that we need to start pushing the movement for our panels that we have. First of all, we have to align and we have to align our minds that we're with information with our information. If the stuff that's coming out of our mouth and aligning with the thoughts in our head, our feet gonna be scared. So when the things that's coming out of our mouth align with what's in our head, that'll give our feet confidence to land our ass in the spot it's supposed to be at. What you think about that?
I definitely agree with that, brother. And I heard the brother Nino say, you got to leave some people where they be, man. Leave them where they at. He basically in so many words saying what I was saying earlier, too, Keith. Like people is gonna, a lot of our people, unfortunately, they're gonna transition, bro, with those ideologies, with those perspectives on the world and stuff like that. And it's one thing I learned early, and I'm glad I saw it early that coming into consciousness, you kind of you get a chip on your shoulder, and not no ego chip, but a chip on your shoulder. Feel like you want to do everything that you possibly can to contribute into basically saving the world, saving the people. You know what I'm saying? You want all the information that you get, that you find out, your downloads and all of the things that you start to understand. You want to go spread the knowledge. You want to get it out. You want to talk to people about it because that's your way of contributing to changing the world, to playing your part and doing a good deed for society. You feel me? So that's what it mainly be about and stuff, bro. But you realize that a lot of people just don't want to change and shit, man. Like they comfortable in their perspective, in their ways of living, their ways of life. A lot of people beliefs have become their truth. Like I was speaking earlier, they've been believing it for so long. Family been doing it for so long. People around them, they don't know anything different and shit. So they feel like they got it all figured out. You got to leave them where they be and shit. You know what I'm saying? But like we always hitting on, you can't make it a distraction for you. You can't make it a brother, sister, enemy to you, or you continue to add on and contribute to division just simply because you are aware of that. You know what I'm saying? Got a way in our powerful minds to move around that, to be able to like we all hitting on it, to meet people where they at, and let's see if we can build on the things that we do have in common, or things that we can put our minds together on in order to establish some type of unity. But if we can't get to that point mentally as a people, then all of this shit is just for nothing and shit, man. We just living our lives and becoming elders and basically seeing the same shit happen that you've been seeing all your lives, and you've seen your elders going through the shit before you, and now you become an elder yourself, and now you go, you live in the shit, seeing the same shit, and then you start thinking about the youth coming up behind you, and end up doing the same shit. I'm telling you, bro, I'll be at a loss of words and shit when it comes to change or revolution, all them, that type of notion, that type of sentiment of bringing forth some type of, effective change in community, in the society and shit like that, wanting to see the system collapse and stuff like that. But I'm steady trying to figure out, it's very difficult for me to see how the people can achieve that if everybody got that childish mentality and shit. I can't get along with you because you got a different God. I can't get along with you and shit because you're not my brother because you don't come to the church, or you don't be in the mosque, or all that crazy stuff, bro. It's just so much out here. I just don't see how can we achieve anything and focusing on the system at hand, focusing on the government, focusing on the CDC. We just seen a pandemic, what I'm saying, transpire before our eyes in 2020. Focusing on the real enemies and the real people that's pushing forth and controlling the media and pushing propaganda and stuff like that. And we can't even focus on them because we're so busy warring with our own people and shit over idiot ideologies and shit, man. Like it's crazy to me, bro. I don't know, bro. This quest is a journey, and this journey is something else and shit, bro. It's crazy, bro.
Nah, you on point. You hitting it in the head because even when we go the political route, we got a lot of people now. Even though I know the plans, what I'm saying, for the prophecy, right? We still on the ground, and we getting scared by things that we saying we thinking the world from the end right now, or it's gonna be any time, any day, and then we steady losing focus in the fight to where we could have some people on the ground who were political positions and stuff to kind of change some things, right? And everything not for everybody. See what I'm saying? So we gonna start playing with all the pieces. I can't say, well, I don't like the rook, so I ain't using the rook. I'm only using my king and my queen. That ain't how chess games get won. We gotta use every piece on the board to stay aboard, to stay afloat, or sink this boat. You understand? So, we are creating degrees of separation, like you said, when we retract from any ideology. Even some things the youth will say. The old people will tell the youth, man, you don't know nothing, you young. I've been where you at before and this and that. No, you ain't. You wasn't young in this time. You was young in your time. You hear me? So
Right.
we've got to watch some of the things we be saying sometimes, because sometimes we go over our own head sometimes, and that's dangerous too. Yeah, I think it's just me and you again. I think the good brother there, but I think so he said he just wanted to tap in, and if we still on here, tap in. But yeah, man, oh yeah, you got a good brother.
Let me ask you this, kid. So let me ask you this, Sam. Let's start off like this. What do you think if do you think there's a possibility that the people are seeing this shit wrong? We seeing it wrong.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I think they reading it, and I think they think that they're entitled to their own perception from the reading. When no, reading is only half the battle. The other half will be the left hand. Reading will be the left hand, and comprehending will be the right hand. So in order for your hands to get clean, you got to put them both together. We got to be able to comprehend what we read. See, our people can read not the problem, but our people have a lack of comprehension skills. So that's why we can't never comprehend the drill. You feel what I'm saying? And I better stop talking in these parables, man. They say they killed Jesus for this shit, man. So oh yeah. Oh yeah, shout out
Jesus Christus.
Yeah, Jesus Christmas.
Oh, Jesus Christus.
And then too now, me and T Wriggles, I'm glad T Wriggles on the bill. Now I was trying to show people the correlation to, and I know a lot of people mad at me when I say this. See, everything is in black and white. So everything is spoken in a double tongue. Even though they're giving you a story of Christ, right? Now, just because they're giving you a story of Christ, and you may have, and we know that Christ is Christ consciousness, but you don't want to invoke the consciousness of Satan, because when we can't comprehend what we reading, and reading ain't just reading words, reading is also reading signs and symbols. So when you see a bald head or a head that's a bald, just because it got hair on it don't mean it ain't a bald head. I ain't say bald, I said bald head. And you see a ring around a bald head. What else is a ring around? Satan. Saturn is Satan. You get it? Okay, now I just opened up a can of snakes. We got T Wriggles in this place. Salute, T Wriggles. What it do, my good brother?
Peace, brother.
Hey, man, salute to y'all, brothers, man. You cooking? Keep going, Keith.
Yeah, man. You know, I just opened up this can of snakes. Now, when they're reading the Bible, just like when I showed the planning for the prophecy. See, when they're saying God, see, God ain't nobody's name. That's why the Bible say, ye are gods, and you are all the children of the Most High. It didn't say ye are gods, and you are all God's children. God is a title. Generator, operator, destroyer is a title, right? So there are many gods, but because people say they don't know God's name, who named him? He don't have one. We just saying the Most High, the Great Spirit, because there you can't be more greater than great. You see what I'm saying? The source, the creator. See, people thought because Bobby Hemming was out here teaching all this spirituality that he didn't believe in a creator, a God. And he said, no, don't lie on me. I'm talking about the one who created us. You know what the hell I'm talking about. See, when a man starts talking like this, everybody say, ooh, he talking like the devil. You don't know God roar like thunder. He don't be whispering to you like no punk. That's the deception. So we're dealing with deception, and we're dealing with Masonic men who know the secret of how to flip from black to white. And they know you don't know how to flip to black to white. That's why they put this shit in black and white, black words on white paper, because it's two sides to every story. See, we ain't getting it. It's going over our head because we can't comprehend. You understand? And I'll fall back. Salute.
Hey, let me ask the panel a question, bro. Do you think Mike, can you hear me? My mic audio
No,
good?
I can hear you, Greedy. Go ahead.
Do you think people, well, let me ask yourselves. I can't speak for everybody. We can't speak for people. But let me ask y'all on the panel. Do you think that you will come to the conclusion in your mind that there is a God or a creator if you had never read any writings on it? If the writings never was out here about it, do you think you would have came to the conclusion in your mind that there is a God, there is a creator?
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna tell you why.
Break down, bro.
Because throughout your times, you're going to have, especially when we go to sleep at night, you're going to have an experience. And that experience that you have with the divine creator or something on that playing field, there will be no doubts from that point on. And I think this is the problem that we're having as a whole. They've turned us inside out. So we have people not knowing that these so-called dreams, especially when they're lucid, right, is that we're actually going inside. When anyone has these lucid dreams, and you have one of these dreams here, that you come into, let's say, you'll come into a scenario of this lucid dream on this godlike playing field. When you come back, you will probably share with the village and see, hey, this is what I dreamt, and da 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 da. And if there's some other people, let's say in this village, right? So like there's no books. So in this village, and if anyone has had somewhat of the same experience as you have, that seals the deal, of divine creator. And depending on the person, and depending on, how much your spirit and mind can contain, you'll experience way more. Does that answer your question, Grady?
Man, I get what he's saying and how you explain it. I understand it all, but how did you equate it to a creator? How did you get all the way down to narrow it, say, this is happening because of a creator?
Well, I can tell you for me, right, is when I look at that sun and I look at that moon, it's too perfect. When I look at the trees, the birds, and everything is designed perfect. Like, I don't see birds flying around with 4 eyes. I don't see humans walking around with 3 arms and 4 chests.
Sometimes though. But see, I ain't hear the question. What was the question again? They kicked me out. What was the question?
The question was, if you never been taught or read any literature or writings about a God or creator, do you think that you would have came to the conclusion in your mind that one exists without being taught about one? Because in that, you got to think about this question as well and shit. I'm telling you why you got to think deep, because you don't think how, you have a different mind when you're an adult and when you're a child. You know what I'm saying? Because I know, like, the child, I can speak for myself. Like, as far as I can remember when I was young, as young as I can remember and shit, like, my mom would have been my savior. My if I would have thought of anything that was greater than me, or anything I'm looking for, forward to coming, make sure I'm good or take care of me, or if I fall off a bike, fall down the stairs, and I'm crying out, the first thing coming to my mind is, where's mama?
I got you, man.
Where's my mom at and shit? You know what I'm saying? So I but then as you getting older, somehow you're brung into the teachings and the understanding, either by moms or by grandmoms or somebody else gives you the understanding and teaching that there is a God, there is a creator and stuff like that. So what I'm asking is, if stuff like that don't transpire, you living your full life and shit, you think you would have ultimately came to the conclusion that there's a creator, there's a God.
Right. I got you in totality. Now, I just wanted to be for sure. So this is what I would say, right? Because I think the problem we're having is the carnal self is battling the spiritual mind. So also, like, I would look at my mother or my father. Now, just to be completely honest, I would look at my mother and father to be my physical savior, my physical God, my physical generator, operator, destroyer, because didn't know God keep my mama from whooping my ass when I was bad. But also in the same thing, I would have a God spirit, a greater spirit, and this would be a line of ancestors. You see what I'm saying? Like this making sense? So in a spiritual
Hey,
sense, because
hold on, Keith, before you go further. Before you go further, at
I
what
just don't
point?
want to forget. I'm gonna forget.
Oh, go ahead.
I just don't want to forget because I was building
Go
this
ahead, bro.
and I heard T. Riggles, right? So just hold that thought 1 second. So as I thought about it, it'd be a source. When we talk about a source, I know I got energy in my body. I know my mama got energy. I know my grandmama got energy. And see, when we look at these people, see, we got to be able to translate because we using words. Everybody use their own imprint to so it makes sense. So we got to understand these words, mind, body, soul, with these words too. So I would know that there's a greater spirit upon me too, which makes the connection to my soul is why my soul and the soul of my ancestors is in continuation with this shit. So that's why I would look for this is what a lot of people say they are God, and a lot of people get mad at them. I said, no, if there's a source and you are pouring of the source, you ain't the whole cup of water, but you are a sip of it. Do that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But that's
So no, not a God as far as a God of the Bible. He say that shall they die and all this shit. It's a big man sitting in the sky and no, hell no. Nah, I don't connect to that now. Nah, nope, never have.
Right.
Mm-mm.
but that's that would be the only way, you know, I could break it down to if we had no literature, we had no nothing, to say even to a child, right? If I was speaking to like a 5-year-old, I would say, well, just look around. Everything is symmetric. Everything has, everything is too perfectly designed. Nothing's odd looking per se. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I would tell a child.
But see,
Because
look, we do got odd looking things. And this is what I'm talking about. We're in a spiritual warfare. So if we look perfect, I mean, nigga, I'm looking in the mirror right now, boy. I got curves, biceps, boy. This face looking on point. Now, don't one of you niggas send me no another motherfucking kissing emojis. I take them from the ladies. Okay. See, uh, you know, we do have people who not perfect. We do have animals that's not perfect. So let's talk about it. Why does that happen? Because we can't say it's not happening when it's happening. That's gonna make me say, I gotta call them people ghosts now, which still true. Because it is imperfect people, it is imperfect things. So where does that come from?
well, I would say that
So are they perfect imperfections though? I mean, I just want to know.
that's what I was going to say. I was going to say I'm imperfectly perfect. If that
I
makes
wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that because I don't think you was created the way that you are. I think the way that you are, just like me, is from my experience. I did all the drinking and fighting and messing with all the women and stuff when I didn't have my head screwed on right. I can't blame that on the source or no source or nothing. I gotta use my mind and really be in information with the information that's coming out of my mouth. And I gotta say, I gotta have accountability. It didn't come from nothing like that. See what I'm saying? So where does this come from? See, when we start to do things, every time we hit some, we tap. That's spirit. That's spiral. That's a spiraling rhythm. That's a beat. That's music on the sheet. We all just a beautiful song that's being played. We don't understand we writing it every day. So why are we trying to act like we already came down as this perfect sheet of music when we already know that we writing this song every day as the beat drop? As the beat drop. That's what get people to stop working on themselves and just say, hey man, I'm gonna put it in God's hand. That is true too. But at the same time, it's making our people not accountable. It's keeping our people looking up while they at our neck, cutting our throat. Do you is what I'm saying making sense?
Let me ask you a question, Key and Greedy, right? I asked this question probably at 8 years old, right? What is the purpose of life?
See, look though, here we go. See, can't nobody up here answer that.
Right.
Yeah, because we ain't created.
Whoa. Okay,
Right.
I asked this question at 8 years old, right? Because I had one of these experiences, right? It took, let me see, 10, 30. Okay.
But I can tell you what my purpose is. My purpose is to my purpose is to be compatible with nature. See, I can't tell you what the purpose of life is, but I can tell you what my purpose in life is. There's levels to this shit. See, when we start trying to get specific, that's when we get off track.
Look. No. When we get specific, that means we go right on track, right? You got to also remember that this question that I'm asking,
chicken
right?
come before the egg. Did the chicken come before the egg? So how we gonna explain the chicken coming before the egg?
All right. So this question I'm asking is, the ancients have asked this question before, and what they did was they put their best minds on this topic. What's the purpose of life? Why are we here? And what is soul? And do you know that our $1 trillion question, that was answered long time ago?
So what was the answer though?
One of the purposes of life is
no. We can't say one of the purposes of life. That's somebody's opinion. See, now I'm looking at somebody's ass now because I could pull my pants down too. I could give my opinion. One of the purposes would be what I would say too. So you said, what is the purpose? We can't move the goalposts because then I ain't gonna never hit.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Right. The purpose of life is for you to learn. And experience.
Says who? Says who?
Says you.
If we were compatible with nature, it wouldn't be nothing to learn. It'd just be shit to do. The only reason we learning shit because we've been indoctrinated in a world that's not ours, into the upside down world. So now we gotta learn how to live in an upside down world and be as satisfied as we possibly can without getting a justifiable or sourceable solution that this shit gonna get right until we turn the world back upside down. There wouldn't be nothing to learn if we was being compatible with nature. We would be having babies, eating, protecting our babies, and we'll be doing this shit daily. It wouldn't be no bills have to get paid. See, we can't move the goal line. See, now we're getting into a gray area. And before I go into a gray area, I'd rather just smoke my room out. And it's gonna be gray in the motherfucker in there, but I'm gonna be high still. You see what I'm saying? So yeah.
All right. So one of the main, like when I've asked people that question, right? One of the main answers is what has been taught to us, right? Hey, live, have babies, and leave something behind for them. Because that's what you're saying, right, Key?
Yeah. But see, that's what I'm saying. See, you keep, and I'm not saying you, so don't take it like I'm talking at you. I'm just saying The conversation is not information with the information, because the answer keep changing every time we speak. And we said what was the purpose. Now we don't say it to learn. Now we don't say it to have babies, to eat, and this and that. I said be compatible with nature, and that's what I'm sticking with. That's it.
No,
It's
no, I
simple.
was no.
It's not nothing to figure out. It's not nothing. It's not no question to ask. Just live. Just like the old folks say, just keep living, just keep living. But I explain why we have all these other issues going on, because we in the upside down world where we don't feel comfortable in. We're not living like the men who live in the jungle. They don't have to ask what's the purpose of life. They live in it. They don't have bills and sickness and going to the grocery store. See, we letting that corner mind take over once again. And we're not right. And we're not right spiritually to be able to not let that carnal mind take in. This is spiritual warfare too, what I'm telling you, but this would be spiritual warfare within oneself. So we got to learn how to master that too. And then you can interject too, Greedy, because I want to know how y'all feel about what we saying right now. We can't say what's the purpose of life. It's to learn. Okay, it's to have babies, it's to this, it's to that. Because now we moving the goalposts. We better off just saying, man, everything happened for a reason. God might not be here when you get ready for him, but he gonna always be on time. That's a vague statement.
Exactly.
That's what I'm telling you. And ain't nothing about being compatible with nature vague. It's supposed to be simple. There's man doing it. There's not the great spirit. See what I'm saying? That's why
Yeah,
I know the time. There's a man somewhere. He's just sitting back watching this shit like, no, that's false. That ain't real. This spiritual thing that we can feel. We be halfway on the horse and we be halfway off that bitch. So in order for us to get on the horse, it got to make sense. We got to be information with the information. What you think, Greedy? You and T. Wriggles, I mean, both of y'all.
Well, I was giving you the answer that people would tell me, you know what I'm saying, what the purpose of life is. Do you know what I mean? In that sense, just to live. You feel me? And that's the typical answer. And like you said, we're we're under spiritual warfare. So when we're under spiritual warfare, no one's given us the owner's manual for your mind, body, and soul.
Right. I agree with you. I agree with you. Restore basket. I made you a moderator because you made a A+. You said the purpose of life is to merge with nature and live without interference. A+. A+. See, we got to be compatible with nature first. So it's like me trying to pull a 600 ton, a 6 ton thing, and the vehicle I'm in ain't strong enough to pull it. The only way I'm gonna have to be able to do that is to put some wheels on it. That's why these men who are playing God, when they telling you God gonna destroy this and that, that's these niggas saying this shit. This man saying this shit. This coming from the king, queens, and the Vaticans, and the motherfuckers who running them. Because it's a never-ending domino effect when it comes to these bitches. So the way for us to first be compatible with nature is to not let them play us out of position. How do we stay in position and stay grounded? That's to be balanced in mind, body, and soul. And you can't use no digital scale from fucking the grocery store or Walmart either. You gotta use a triple beam scale. Because one gotta balance your mind, one gotta balance your body, and your soul should be in the middle on that pole. That's it. Ain't no way around it but to go through it. That's it. See, we start looking for things. We start to, want to have a cheat code. We can't cheat being natural. We can't cheat none of that. We can't cheat nature. We can't cheat the great spirit. That's why people use mediums to try to get over on the great spirit. This is why people use angels. What they try to say, angels, say this prayer 3 times and do this and that. No, just be compatible with nature, man. But we gotta realize we under attack. These interferences that's in the way is part of the traps and snares that was being stuck. So, like I said, reading is only half the battle. We have to read, comprehend, read and comprehend. We gotta have knowledge. When we can read, that's knowledge. But then it don't become knowledge till you comprehend. So then that's your knowledge. Then after we practice this become wisdom. Then we can understand it. But then we gotta overstand it so we can understand it. It's levels to it. So before we get to that point, peace. Before we get to that point, there shouldn't be no spewing of the tongue. See, nobody's asking anyone when they sign up for their YouTube page, hey man, where did you get your knowledge? What's your credentials? Motherfuckers is talking who shouldn't be, not nobody here. I'm talking about people who are teaching shit and they ain't teachers. They reachers.
Yes, sir, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
some of them would even consider themselves master teachers, brother. And they'll consider themselves master teachers based on what they think they know. Even if you know emphatically, it still don't make you a master teacher. Because because a teaching method is not what you know, is how you teach. If you can teach masterfully and if you can have people listen to you and want to listen to you and look forward to listen to you, that's masterfully. That's how you teach. That's being a master teacher. I've heard people say they're master teachers with the worst demeanors, with the worst attitude, but they'll call themselves master teacher when you cringe at the very sound of their damn voice. And they can't hold nobody to teach. Being able to hold people to teach is masterfully. And you have to master that in order to be a master teacher. But first, you got to be a master student. You got to be a master student. I'm forever a student. I would never put master teacher on myself. I'll put student on me, though.
Facts. That's a fact. Greedy, did you want to now? I know you had your point you was going into before we pull the car over real quick. And I apologize. I hope that you remember, but I feel like I'm in a video game where they throwing the watermelons. The watermelons just flying through the ether. And it's not nobody physically, it's the spirit. Because we have whisperers who whisper to the hearts of men in vulnerable times. So if they feel like that was sent to them and that came from God. So, these whisperers are the jinn and these ghosts, these G-hosts, these ghosts. You know what I'm saying? So they are looking to, and it's not that they're physical things, it's just the energy that's been put forth by men. You see what I'm saying? So these energies do exist because we can pick an energy up and carry it and pass it to the next person like a sickness. That's all a sickness is an energy. So your question, Greedy, did you want to pick up and further elaborate?
Well, his question was, if there was no literature, there was no nothing, how would you know
Nah, I
That
got
there's
that one. I
yeah.
was talking about where he was going with the next thing he was saying. We got that one.
Oh, okay.
He was saying something where I cut him off. I answered that one, and I told him already. I said that, you know, unless you greedy.
Yeah. We
Okay,
was on we was answering Ashley T. Wiggles' question and shit about the purpose of life.
right.
I think I'm telling you, like that's the whole reason. That's how the Bible came to be. That's how you got a Quran and stuff like that. People trying to give the answers on your purpose of life. You know, most people who believe in that would tell you their purpose is to serve Allah, or their purpose is to serve the Most High. Their purpose is to be a child of God and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So, but you know, we know that that's all a belief. You know what I'm saying? That's if you're taught that, you don't come out the womb knowing that. You got to be taught that. That's either a traditional family upbringing thing that you get accustomed to, or it's something that you pick up along the way from parents. You know, some babies come out the womb and get dipped in some water or something like that. You know, have somebody put hands on them or rub them down with some oil, or so-called anointing them and stuff like that. So, you know, it seemed to me and shit while you experience life and shit like that, that is everyone's individual purpose, is to just experience it, you know, and you learn experiences. That's what you actually know. What you know is what you have experienced. You know, everything else is all up to speculation for real. It's like your moms and them can tell you a story of things that they did in the past or when they was young, and you can believe them because that's your mom. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. But you wasn't there, so you'll never be able to know exactly the full detail, exactly what went on and what transpired and stuff. You know, they say it's always two sides to a story and stuff like that. But as far as what you have experienced in your life, what you have seen, what you have witnessed, what you have went through, the stuff that you know that you have been a part of, because you can experience shit just being connected to people. So you ain't got to experience everything in your physical individual life. You can know knowledge of certain incidents and things and how shit get down because you're connected to people and they go through certain shit and you get knowledge of it. But the things that you do know is the things that you know through your experience. Like you don't got to know, you don't have to question where you come from. You know that you came from your mama's womb. You see what I'm saying? You ain't got to question that and shit. When it comes to you trying to identify who all your relatives is, who all your ancestors was, that's when you got to start questioning things and you start ending up in speculation. And at some point in time, information get cut off, and then you just stuck, like he said, in the gray area somewhere and shit. You had to stand still. So you know what? That really has nothing to do with you sustaining your life and your physical being right now. That's just, you know, mind playing tricks on you and shit for real. You know, you just the mind doing what doing shit, you know, going on those wandering missions and wanting to know things and exploration and expanding in thoughts and stuff like that. So that's natural and shit. But the very moment you let that control your life, and you know, when your mind playing tricks on you and you're here and there with it. One time you know how we elevate knowledge. You know, we believe this at once, and then you grew in knowledge, and then you start to see that that wasn't all the way there. But you know, now you're here with it, and you probably elevate from that in a few years or so. You know what I'm saying? You never stagnant at a thing. So you know, this all of that is just like mind games, mind playing tricks on you and shit, and can possibly be distractions of you in your fullness in your being right now and shit. You see, when you get thrown off and try to resurrect what your ancestors was doing, and you feel me, and you trying to hold on to their glory and stuff like that. You kind of take away from glory in your now. You know what I'm saying? You kind of more so putting a lot of energy in something else that can be possibly put into yourself that could be bringing out a greater version of yourself. So I think you know, us living life and experiencing, it seems to me, this is just my opinion, like that is the purpose for you to experience and shit. For you to, you know, have this experience. Who knows what comes after this physical being. You know what I'm saying? We know that your consciousness your energy and all that will never die. You know, what they call your spirit, your soul, or whatever the case may be. But we don't know what comes after this physical body. You know what I'm saying? We actually don't know. But while you're here, all you're doing for real is experiencing shit. That's all you're
Thank
doing.
you. Thank you for making that more relatable. Because you know, all we can do is be compatible with nature. All we can do is do. And that was compatible with what I was saying. I appreciate that, good brother.
Right. Yeah. Just to do and experience. You learn from your mistakes and shit like that. You know, like, you know, we that's why I was asking the question earlier also, Key, like, you know, when you a child and you riding your big wheel and you know what I'm saying, getting pulled around the, you know, the block in the wagon and all that types of shit. And, you know, 2, 3 years old and stuff like that. Ain't no baby in that at that age, bro, thinking about no damn God, thinking about no Jesus Christ, thinking about no Allah. You know, ain't none of that important to that child at that moment, bro. Ain't
Right,
none of that important, bro. You see what I'm saying? So like
right.
when like it comes a time in your life to you know, through the growth of you, you know, the time span of you being that child and you becoming an adult, you pick that up along the way somehow. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that's big facts. And you know, that's why I was saying in the so to match the physicalness of it, see, we had to go back to the ancestors' spirits that passed. You know, but instead it's kind of like asking what come first, the chicken or the egg. So just like you said, we gotta speculate when they go back to who our ancestors was back in the day, because it's been so long that it wasn't no reading history of how we just us. You see what I'm saying? Just us. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we just us. So even in the spiritual part of it, that's it matched the same as within, so without. So like you saying, we just a cup of the source, like a cup of the water. That's why I said a great spirit. I'm not saying it's the Christian God, it's the Muslim God, it's the Seventh-day Evangelists, and it's Jehovah's Witnesses. No, I'm not saying none of that. I'm saying it like you saying it. Just like we could go back to our mom, our great grandfather, our this, our that. We are just a drip of the cup of water. That's my answer.
I mean, the shit like breaking it down to the basics, you know, because your the identity crisis is a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like people is really getting emotionally attached to the point where it's causing a strong division amongst your own brothers and sisters and shit in so many words and shit. You know, this Aborigine thing, African thing, Hebrew thing, Arabic thing, you know, however you want to come with it. You know what I'm saying? The people is in a frenzy with this, bro. And it's almost like equivalent to the you know, being in the streets in the different sets, the different corners, the different hoods, where people is claiming one thing and they putting separation between themselves and everybody else who ain't down with the clique, who ain't down, you know, whoever ain't banging
Yeah.
how we banging, whoever ain't rocking how we rocking and shit. You know, you like you the foe, you the op. You
Man,
know what I'm saying? So
That's what it is.
that's
because that
That's
was
what
this
it
shit.
is.
That's what 607 Unc trying to do. He's trying to do the same shit what you saying, but he doing it in a comical way. Because if I don't say God name is Jehovah, now motherfucker playing with me. But that's like me sitting up saying the Islam, you know, Islam, or hold on, see, that's like me saying C-Rab or something. You see what I'm saying? Or O nut. You see what I'm saying? How a gang get disrespected, a religion get disrespected because a religion is a gang and a gang is a religion. It's the same gang. You see what I'm saying? So
right.
this shit just causes the 6 degrees of separation to work against us
You
rather
know,
than working for us. Like I'm saying.
brother, you know, it was a time when we would say our people are destroyed because of a lack of knowledge.
Hmm.
day, the knowledge, the information is becoming problematic.
Mm.
And as a brother said, it's virtual banging, you know, as far as the information. The information is becoming the problem because if you are not consistent with someone else's mind, not your mind, someone else's mind, you get banged on.
Mm.
You can't tell a person that I don't think the way you think without it being a problem. And the information is becoming the problem.
Mm.
One of the reasons why is intellectual laziness. A lot of our people are lazy because they'll call themselves doing research and they will come to us with something that's apparent. It's apparent that you're reading what you're reading, and they call it sources, they call it receipts. It doesn't necessarily get you, you know, because you show a receipt. Just imagine, brother, if you are trying to return something with the wrong receipt. And some of the receipts we have to keep in mind. This is the World Wide Web. This is the internet. A lot of us is called in that net.
Mm.
A web is a net too. And we're caught in it. And we love, some of us haven't had a voice before then. Didn't have a voice. Nobody
Right.
will listen to them. Nobody will pay attention to them. Probably was sat in front of a damn TV all their goddamn life. But this is the most people will listen to them. And some are so disrespectful in the way they're so used to the disrespect that they think that's it's actually the culture, brother. The
Mm.
culture is disrespect. Can you imagine, brother, as wicked as some people is on this planet, some of them can debate each other without all of what we see displayed on these platforms. They will actually debate each other, go back and forth with each other. But we can't even have a conversation and disagree on information without the foolishness.
Mm.
But they'll say, let me build. And when they come up and say, let me build, for the most part, is undermining what the next brother or sister just said. It's better if someone found an error, not necessarily come up and say, oh, that's cap and that's nonsense. A lot of times, just merely providing what you think of the situation, adding on, which is what make it a build. Sometimes it's been times, he'll tell you, I've said something and he said something, and I'll tell him, yo, I like what you said better. That's sharpening each other. That's how you sharpen each other. He didn't say, brother, you're wrong. He just provided a different way of looking at it. And I said, oh, you know what? I like that better.
Mm.
And I don't know where some of these, in particular, the brothers, because I'm not going to call a woman a bitch for acting like a woman, but I call a man a bitch for acting like a woman. A lot of these cats, I don't know where they came from, bro. I mean, either they didn't listen, or they've been sister girling with their mama and her friends, aunties, and they've been around them too much.
Mm.
Should have been dropped off somewhere where some men were. Because I don't see manhood displayed, brother. I don't see no manhood displayed. Unproven. They so unproven when it comes to what they say. It's too inconsistent with their behavior. No one is gonna have me, even if somebody try to bring me down to their level, bro, because my level's too high for you to climb. You're gonna stay down there by yourself. I'm staying where I'm at.
Heard that.
I don't debate people who are not on my level. I just teach them. When I say my level, my behavior. I don't care what you can spit out your mouth. I'm looking at you. How you conduct yourself, how you behave. And if it's inconsistent with what you're saying, that's you. It's like saying, oh, I made a mistake 12 times. No, that's not a mistake. That's you. That's you. That's not a mistake. Lessons taught, it's better to learn on your own, studying extensively, constant studying, instead of getting that harsh reality. Because a lesson taught sometimes, brother, it's a lesson learned.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, in life, if I'm talking to you and I'm trying to tell you something, especially about myself and how to treat me and how to deal with me, because I'm a respectful person. If I got to teach you to respect me, that's going to be a karate class. Because that's not something that I'm asking for. That's something I'm demanding. How I demand it is by being respectful and respecting myself and respecting those around me. So if you don't respect me and I got to teach you to respect me, that's going to be a harsh lesson.
It's funny that you just said that. With my 28 years of coaching children, I went in there saying, no, you're going to do as I tell you to do, and thinking that's going to bring respect to the situation. But children don't learn that way. Children learn by your actions. What are you doing that makes this? What the child is thinking. What are you doing that makes me want to respect you? And I learned that. And so what you're saying is totally 1000% correct. It's how we move, how you talk, how you respect others, that's demanding the same respect given back. Well said, brother. Well said.
My brother, the first people among us that can point out hypocrisy, brother, is those babies.
Yeah.
Those babies, bro, they can point that hypocrisy out, and they'll point it out. So, and what's crazy about it, brother? We get mad when they do it. We get mad when they do it. Let's say you doing things you shouldn't even be doing around your children, smoking, whatever, and then you see them do it, and they say, "So, but you do it,
right?"
What do? You backhand them because you consider that sassing. No, that's pointing out.
Right.
Something. If you don't want me doing this, why are you doing it? And especially doing it in front of me.
Right.
You don't want me to smoke. You don't want me to drink. You don't want me doing certain things. Now I can understand you're talking to me saying these are adult things. Okay. But you have to have that talk. Got to have that talk and have them understand it.
Right.
Yeah. Certain things that even we shouldn't be doing as an adult. Point blank.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you don't want your child doing it, you shouldn't do it yourself.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Salute my brother Drake Cobb. Let's see you in the chat. Good brother, salute. I had a phone call come through, so I was away for a little minute. I'm gonna postpone my Houston trip. Shout out to Goose the Great, man. We're gonna get this interview done tomorrow. The good brother's birthday just passed. He over here waiting for me, and he hurt his knee. So, man, a big piece of power to the brother. Man, I knew y'all was building, man. I kind of missed it, but I heard the end of it. That's a fact. You know, we can't tell our children. So that's another thing, you know, our vices, those things we have to keep away from our children. It's a time and a place for everything. So you can't be sitting up there smoking a blunt in front of your child and then get mad when your child starts stealing your weed.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know what, brother? You have to maintain who you are. As if you're uncle or if you're a dad or whatever, you have to maintain who you are. So therefore, if you want your nephews, your sons, your, you know, daughters to respect you, who you are, you have to maintain who you are. So that means you don't, you know, you don't do certain things with them and around them.
Right.
If you are
Right.
uncle smoking weed with your, if you are uncle smoking weed and drinking with your nephews, they think that you are their peer.
Right.
And don't be surprised if they try you.
Oh, they gonna try
Right.
you. Cause
Don't
they
be
gonna try
surprised
your
if they try you.
friend. Yeah. You they friend at that point. You know, went from
Exactly.
uncle status to
Yeah.
friend. It's like my daughter.
Right.
They was like, you know, your daughter smoke weed. I said, well, you know, that's a choice she gonna have to decide and deal with. So is it gonna be okay if she smoke here? I said, hell no, it ain't gonna be okay if she smoke here. If she
Goddamn
smoke
right.
here, you her get her big ass beat with this belt. That's what you gonna see.
Bring her back
So
down to that child
you
with the
think
belt.
she finna smoke with me when I don't even smoke around her? Nah, hell nah. You got the game fucked up. And I'm gonna get you away from my child because you trying to be my child's friend. When that ain't your business or your
Real
job
talk.
to be my child's friend. You supposed to be my child's auntie. See, you cut the fuck off too.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
It ain't what you do, but it is how you do it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, you know, with all the family members, you know, it's supposed to be good cop, bad cop. You know, my brother he was the bad cop, but I was the good cop. But you know what? We still cops. I'm still installing the same thing that he would tell his children. And I tell, you know, I don't have kids, I mean children yet, gentlemen. Well, I can tell you this. I've never raised my voice at my mother or my father. Never until, well, I shouldn't say never. I raised my voice at my mother for the first time I'm 48, 49. Okay, at 48. I raised my voice at my mother when I was 43 for the first time. She installed two major rules. She said, so if everyone's going to jump off the cliff, are you going to jump? You know, that was a rule to install. Okay, be your own, go your own direction. Got it. And then she said, make sure you keep smart people around you. Like those were the two installations in my brain computer that she installed, and my father would say the same thing. And at 42, 43 years old, one of those rules she installed, she broke. And that's when I kind of lost a little respect for my mother, because it was the situation of the jab. And so I kicked back to her like, so since everyone's getting this and we don't have all the information, so you're going to jump like everyone else, and then she looked at me with the weirdest look. And then after we got over that, I started to now really think about things. And then I said, hold up, where are the smart people around you? I said, then I started to name off names with the smart people around me, and she agreed to, these are smart people. And then I said, so mother, where are the smart people around you? Like there was no one. And it's just like, yo, like you can't do that, mother. You know what I mean? Like my father would say, to end it here, gentlemen, like my father would say this. He would say, look, son, whatever you do, don't let no one stick their finger in your butt. Okay, got it, Pops. And don't worry about that. He and my father's not going to break that rule no matter what, so I can remain and having this respect for him. So when my mother was breaking these rules here, it was just like, yo, what do you want me to? Sorry, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Good. I wouldn't want to cut you off. I was just trying to see. I know. It's entertainment. I ain't know if you. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You good?
No.
I just heard. That was a trigger word. Them was trigger words. A little bit. I'm sorry.
No,
I told you, man. The man just blew a kiss at me today, and I'm still vexed about that shit. So, go ahead, continue, brother. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, just that now it's done. It was just that's so important, as we were talking about, with doing things around your children. Do you know what I mean? Because children learn by what you do, not necessarily by what you say all the time. And I land.
Oh yeah, that's big facts, man. A lot of people be like, "Oh man, your children are this and that," and I'd be like, like I told my son, it was a lot of things that I went through growing up, but I don't blame my parents because my parents were very young when they had me, and my grandmother did more than her best, So I appreciate everything. I hear a lot of people say, "Ah, man, my mom wasn't nothing because of this or that." But damn, nigga, you 40 years old now saying that shit. You still using it for an excuse? Get out the past, man. You know what I'm saying? You got time today. You know what I'm saying? While waiting till tomorrow, do it this night. You know what I'm saying? See, we got to start. That's another thing, Greedy. We got to start being able to be accountable. Even when it comes to us talking about the ancestors. We said it compared to, man, back then I would have did this. No, you wouldn't. You can't survive without the internet for half a day.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It goes back to what we say, brother. It goes back to what we say, brother Key. It goes back to, when they say, oh, the people, our people from back then, they dropped the ball, man, But you looking down at the ball and won't pick it the hell up. Looking right down at the ball, won't pick it up and run it, but you saying they dropped the ball. We got to, brother, I've never gotten that because times are different now. I was just talking to Professor Griff yesterday. I said, brother, remember when if I wanted to speak to you, I had to wait till you got home, brother? I couldn't call you wherever you at. You couldn't call me from Mexico. I had to wait till you get back. I said, right now, you called me from Mexico. And you was able to get me where I'm at. I said, back. I remember a time, brother, when we didn't have cell phones. I got a beep. I got to go run and find a payphone to answer my beep, to call whoever beat me. And then it morphed into a big ass cell phone. Then, we are what we are today. But back then, bro, I mean, it's, a lot of our people don't realize, in a particular generation, don't realize how much things have changed. You know why, brother? It's because when they came into the world, when they first seen me, I was already an adult. They don't think I came from where they at now. They don't think I grew up, with a big will and, a Huffy and, they don't think that I came from where they're at now. They think because the first time they seen me, I was already a full grown man. So they think that they can pull things that I didn't get away with with my parents. They think they could pull it up on me. And you can't. You even thinking about certain things. Oh, you about to try to do this. Because I tried it and I got caught. You about to get caught too. I see it coming. So when we talk about, what another generation didn't do, we got to consider the time. We always have to consider the time and what must be done. And we got to stop being so hard on each other too, brother. We got to stop being so hard on each other when it comes to this generational thing, bro. We just gotta know and understand. Know and understand, bro.
I agree.
Listen to each other.
Blue said, not only do I demand respect from my children, I respect my children. I respect my children too, because I don't tell them I've been where you at before. Because even though I've been their age, I have to subject my mind to the situation they're going to, and I can't 100% place myself where they at, because back then the stuff that's here now wasn't there then. So we just gotta. It's all about balance, and that's why them skills are in that title again. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And also, brother, that's what makes you understand, because you came from where they're at, and when you talk to them, you understand. They don't think you do, but you do. They don't think you understand. Why? Because, as Will Smith said, parents just don't understand, but we do. We understand.
That's a fact, man. Salutes. And I'm with you. Go ahead. You want to interject, good brother T. Riggles? And I do got to get out of here soon, man. I got to get to work to get some work done for the day. Now that I know I ain't got to leave for Houston right now, but I will try to come back tonight. This has been a beautiful build, man. It's been great. I appreciate everybody in the chat for coming through. I appreciate all my brothers for coming on the panel, dropping jewels. Every single panel member who came and dropped jewels, man. Man, you are greatly appreciated, man.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, brother.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for having me, Keith. Appreciate that, for real.
Appreciate y'all, man. We will be back tonight for a Nation One Love After Dark segment. The unconscious community, Black fatigue in the Black community. You know what I'm saying? Where we are is where we stand. So salutes to everybody. I would like for everyone who was in the chat, everyone who didn't care to come in the chat, everyone who liked the video, shared the video, supported in any kind of way, of the brothers on the panel, everybody, man, to join us later. And we're gonna keep the intellectual bills happening. We're gonna stay information with our information. so we can try to offset this horrible demonstration. You know what I mean? We want to make sure that we're growing and building together. As the brother, my big brother, Nasir stated earlier.
Yeah, question before you go. You know, this is what Brother Nasir just said, like the laziness, you know, but what is black fatigue? I've never heard of this before. This is the term now just been thrown around. What is that?
They're telling us that they're tired of us, brother.
Well, not only are they telling us that there's two sides of every story.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So they are telling us that they're tired of us. There's also some of us who's tired of some of our ways.
Yes, sir.
As well. So we gotta look at it from both perspectives. I'm gonna always flip the coin so that we're not one-sided with our story. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna try to read and comprehend this thing. We can only do that together, man. Salute.
So the face value is that the brother that's just tired of brothers, and then the deeper meaning is what Brother Nasir just said, right?
I'm gonna go a little bit deeper, you know. So that's kind of like a starter point. Black fatigue is exactly what it says. Black fatigue.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And it's also, you know, again, that's the surface level. You know, what I just said. They're tired of us, but when you look at it, brother, and the fact that we are out of control, meaning that they can't actually control us, and their gig is up. If you look at it, their gig is up with everything they tried to do, as far as like the indoctrination and everything that we fell for in the past that they put on us. And the fact that we're not telling them, I put it this way, we're emancipating ourselves. We're trying to get away. We're trying to get away. People shooting firecrackers and shit. We're trying to get away from their ways.
Don't shoot back, bro.
And how they do things and everything. You know.
Facts. That's facts.
And,
you know,
and they're it's really a frustration.
Yeah.
It's a frustration to the point that they're tired. It's a frustration to the point that they're tired. They're so frustrated that it tires them.
Yep. So I want to be able to touch on all those points, and I don't really have the time to do that right now. I would like for everyone to come back, like I said, later.
Yes,
but yeah, it's definitely a lot when it comes to black fatigue. The whole energy of black fatigue is fatiguing everyone. So should I say?
Indeed.
Yeah, I'll read
brother, I appreciate you allowing me to come up and chop it up with you for a minute.
But, you know, like I said, y'all brought jewels. I feel like we grew. I feel like we learned. I feel like we build. So anytime we can do that, you know, I think that we accomplished our job. You know what I'm saying? At the moment, but we should also know that the job is never done. So, you know, we'll be back for another run a little bit later. I just got to do a few things. So I will be checking back into YouTube to see who's live before I go live again. And if we come rise, then you know I'm going to come through and be with y'all for a little minute. I just got to get a couple of hours of work in before the sun go down so I can, you know, not miss the day completely. But I appreciate everybody, and we will be back. But I want to allow for y'all brothers to close out if you can. And please drop y'all channel links if you have it in the chat. That way that we can support each other and build and grow with each other. Salute.
Yes, sir. Just send me the link, my brother, and you know what it is.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
When you get ready to go later on.
Yes, sir. Salute. So salutes to everybody. Much love and respect. And we will be back tonight. Like I said, the unconscious community, Black fatigue in the Black community. Where we are is where we stand. Salutes to everybody. Just know you appreciate it. Much love and respect to everyone. Until next time, peace and power, family. Salute.
Salutes.